The interesting thing about cyber liability insurance is it's what we would call an unregulated product. So there is no standard for what a policy has to have or does not have to have. If you think about something like car insurance, we all kind of understand the process and the flow of it. We get into a fender bender, take the car to the body shop, pay our deductible, get the car back in a week, and on we go. With the cyber world, it doesn't work that way. So I think key things to look for from what it should cover would be network security failures. You want to look at privacy liability. That's a huge one right now. Media liability. So things like copyright, trademark, libel, slander, defamation, those types of things. Cyber extortion, ransomware. That's all over the news now. And then a lot of times when there is some sort of a privacy event, make sure that there's the cleanup coverage. So notification costs, forensics analysis, credit monitoring for people impacted, those types of things. You always want to make sure you've got regulatory coverage in there. So, if you get hit with a HIPAA, GLBA, Sarbanes-Oxley, and then a lot of policies will spell out PCI separately because technically the card industries are not a regulatory body, but make sure it's got both aspects of those things because they can come after you. Anyone doing stuff internationally, make sure you've got GDPR extension on that regulatory side for any fines and penalties. Downtime, business interruption, and lost revenues, you're going to want to make sure you've got there. Data replacement cost. And then a lot of the policies as of late have started throwing in what we call first party cyber crime coverages. So if you fall for a phishing scam, if you have unauthorized activity on an account, a credit card, something like that. And then I would say, occasionally hardware replacement cost. So if all of a sudden they get in there and now you've got a glorified paperweight, make sure that you can get your computers and your devices replaced, not just the data and the programs on there, but the actual machine itself. So those would be the things that I think you really want to look for in a policy to make sure that you're protected comprehensively. Some of the stuff that is not picked up to kind of spin off that crime aspect of it is third party crime. So if somebody inside your organization maybe has access to client information, third party outside organization information, and they try to, use their check account to make payments or use their card information, that's not going to be covered by a cyber policy. It'll work if you're hit by somebody outside, but it won't work if someone inside your organization hits someone else. A lot of policies do not cover electrical and mechanical disturbances. So if the power goes down and let's say your firewall or something doesn't kick back on when the power comes back on, those subsequent losses are typically excluded from policies. And then there's also a lot of policies that are now, I wouldn't say it's an exclusion, but it's something to watch out for, and it's co-insurance clauses. So people will say, oh, well, I have, $1 million of coverage for a ransomware event. Well, unfortunately, there's a co-insurance of 25%. So if it's $1 million ransom, your deductible isn't 5,000 or 10,000. It's actually a quarter mil plus the 5 or 10. So really changes the way people look at that's a huge sticker shock. It's not, like the health insurance, you pay a portion and then all of a sudden, insurance kicks in up to 80/20 kind of thing. And then always check the definition of what carriers are defining as computer systems. There are a lot of policies out there that will not call your computer systems. They don't define, I guess, stuff in the cloud as your computer system. So even though it's your information, it's your data, if it's through the third-party cloud vendors' systems that it's lost, it's damaged, it's exposed, your clients are coming after you, but your policy may not respond because it wasn't in your, computer systems based on definition. Always check those things to really understand. But those are kind of some of the areas that I think are scarier that aren't covered.